Okay, we are going to come back in just a moment here. It looks like we're getting the game lobby set up. Yes, we're putting it together. It's going to be Clueless versus Pays Evelynn Child Support. Put a little thing on the map. Saw some people talking about Vision in the Twitch TV chat. Now, this is not all-encompassing. There's still a bunch of things that I could not fit in, like Caitlyn traps, Maokai saplings, Zyra's plants, other things like that. But these are the most common things we see used to give Vision in the game mode. These are the things that pull it off the most. So you have to worry mostly about these things. Two of them are items: Hextech Sweeper, Aggressive Spectral Lantern. You can buy those. And Aggressive Spectral Lantern can even be bought as a starting item, which is excellent to have. Hextech Sweeper gives movement speed. Look at Hextech Sweeper's stats. Tell me that's not the best item that's ever been made. It's really good. And you can take Clairvoyance sometimes. But Clairvoyance is only one spell. You need your other spell slot for something completely different. Revive. If you're not familiar with Revive and Dominion, take a look at this screen here, because it'll explain a little bit about Revive to you. It starts in just a couple of moments. We are putting together the lobby. We just got my co-commentator into the chat, into the lobby, rather, and we're going to kick over in just a moment to that screen. Once all the players are in and they go to Champ Select, we will do that. And also, if you want to know some of the top bans in Dominion, I also made a little paper for that as well. These are 6 of the 10 top bans. I could not fit all 10 on a single screen, unfortunately, so I just picked 6 of them, and these are ones that you'll see banned a lot. Some of the bans that didn't quite make it on here, Nidalee is one that I really wanted to have a sheet for as well, but she didn't quite fit, unfortunately. And a little bit of hype for this last game: Pays Evelynn Child Support. This team is up against Clueless in the finals, and Pays Evelynn Child Support has been a competitor for a very long time.
I'm looking at some of those stats myself. It looks like they are basically the reigning champions, as it would be. They have 90% win rate in... I'm not sure what the difference is between those two. They have a 90% and an 86%, but either way...
Matches versus games. A match is an entire best of 3. If you win a match, it counts as 1, regardless of whether it was a best of 3, best of 7, best of 5, whatever. Right. Games, if you win a best of 3 2-1, it gives you 2 wins, 1 loss. But in a best of 3, if you win a best of 3 at 2-1, and you count as 1 win for matches. So that's the difference between those two things.
Alright, I see. So that's cool. They have a very high win rate either way. Anything above 60 is a really high win rate at this point, because you're taking sort of an average in a sense. So at the most, you'll see teams edging it out, getting 55% win rates, maybe 60s. But when you talk about high 80s, 90s, that is huge. And at this point, let's take a look at Clueless. It looks like they've met so far 19 games, and they've won most of them. So would this be the game where Clueless can dethrone them?
It's very possible. Clueless and them have only met a few times, and Clueless has been meeting them in the finals of other Dominion tournaments. So we'll see if they can change things around, because the odds are against them. But Clueless, I know Clueless can take on this team. Pays Evelynn Child Support versus Clueless has provided a lot of very entertaining games the past several weeks.
And let's take a look at some of the bans we're seeing already. Elise, Kassadin, Nidalee, Kha'Zix, all fairly standard. We know Painkiller's Elise is something that we want banned out. Is very strong on that champion, and Elise in general is a very strong champion to begin with, so very deserving of a ban right there. We're not quite seeing anything like a Wukong or Zyra, 2 champions that have been really, really popular so far, and even Annie as well has been played quite a bit in this Dominion tournament, so let's see what Evelynn is actually going to be banned. That's a pretty interesting ban, and you were talking about Evelynn before when I asked about something that was a little bit unrelated, but it was still very valuable knowledge, where Evelynn is one of those champions where you're always thinking, where's Evelynn? If you don't see her, it's almost like Schrodinger's cat. She can be thought of as everywhere on the map at once, and you have to predict as such, because...
That Lulu ban. I want to address the Lulu ban really quickly. That Lulu ban, 1, Lulu is an extremely powerful champion. Number 2, Mad Supportal, aka Zyra+, has a 100% win rate in competition with Lulu. Don't let him get Lulu. He's the best Lulu player, period, for North American Dominion. No one touches that guy. Lulu has an absolutely brutal slow. It's 80% and it can hit multiple targets. She can give vision in a map mode where vision is harshly limited and you need to be able to track people. Help picks will highlight people as they move through the fog and the bushes in the middle of the map. She has 2 different ways to affect speed. She can speed up an ally and slow an enemy with Glitter Lance. Between those 2 spells, it's a massive speed difference. If she slows an enemy and speeds an ally, they're not going to hit each other because the speed difference is so high. She can crowd control other people as well. She can give her allies a damage shield. She can increase her allies' health. She can airborne enemies. She basically does everything. She has a kit that does like 8 different things with only 4 abilities. She has way too many abilities. All of them are great. She's a really fast character because of Whimsy. So she can move around the map, backcap, get to fights like she needs to. Lulu with some mana CDR, a couple of tanky items. Man, she's an absolute nightmare. There's no real way to stop her either. You can't burst her down because of her shield and her health increase. You can't catch her because you're slowed by 80% and her speed goes up by 35%. Plus she has Hextech Sweeper on top of that for 45% increased movement speed. What? It's insane. No, ban Lulu. And if you let Zyra+ play Lulu, you basically lose automatically.
Yeah, if there's anything to compare it to for you guys who aren't really too familiar with Dominion and Dominion players, Lulu is an extremely strong champ in the first place. And half-hearted on Lulu or Zyra+, how do you pronounce that? Zyra+ on Lulu is basically like Froggen, or Season 2 Froggen on Anivia. You just don't let it happen in the first place. And even on top of that, Anivia is an amazing champion. Summoner's Rift Dominion, she's got a great kit, and the wall is really what separates her from a lot of other champions, but not seen so far in this tournament. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the picks that we do see so far. Blue team, it looks like they're going straight for a lot of big AoE. We have the gigantic Cassiopeia stun. If people are looking towards Cassiopeia, that can stun everyone on a team at once. Very strong ability right there. And on top of that, we have the Nimbus Strike into Wukong ultimate for his initiation, which is also very strong. And we might be seeing, Vayne. It looks like they're going to try to take Vayne away from BP Bop. Ooh. And BP Bop has been so strong on Vayne earlier today. That is something that is going to work really well in their favor. It looks like they will be locking it in. Very good pick up right there.
And we know that BB Pop is a very good Vayne. Vayne's a very good champion to have. BB Pop also plays Quinn and Sivir. And there we go. Speak of, and you will get Sivir. Sivir's a character that hasn't seen regular competition since Dominate Dominion 0 in like December of 2011. But recently, some people of very high mechanical skill, like BB Pop, have realized, wait a minute, Sivir has a spell shield and her range is really high. Boomerang Blade, it goes for a really long distance and it comes back. The fact that it is thrown and returns means it's active on the field for a longer period of time, which means it zones harder than normal. Plus it hits multiple targets, so it's very good for interrupting and delaying on points. Plus it can poke all the way across towers. Sivir's also a fast character, and you can use the spell shield to block stuns. She also gives movement speed to her entire team, which makes her a great initiator. If you pair her up with a tank, pop the ultimate, get that movement speed, close the gap, have someone like Maokai or Wukong Twisted Advance or Nimbus Strike Cyclone into the other team, horrible things happen to them. And her chase is good because of that, too.
Oh yeah, and looking like the other team, they're going to decide to pick up Jarvan as their last pick. We've seen so much Jarvan in this tournament so far. He's very strong. He's got a really long gap closer when he uses his flag and drag combo, and then he can go ahead and use Cataclysm on whoever he wants to initiate on, and that will do quite a bit of CC, and it will... No one's taking a flash, so it's going to force people's non-flash escapes to get out of that. And looking at the team, they have two. So Maokai can Twisted Advance out of the Cataclysm, but that requires an enemy. And if your team's positioning is right, then the only way he can get out of the Cataclysm is to jump towards someone who is jump towards your team and be in the middle of 4 members of your team at the same time. So it's very good against this sort of team, and Wukong is the only other person who can do that. Outside of that, they're all going to be stuck in Cataclysm for the entire duration of it or until they die, and at least in that case their soul is released and no longer trapped by Cataclysm. So we are in the 3-minute delay now. We can take a look at some of the summoner spells, and nothing too weird right here, but we are seeing another one of those double clairvoyances, Supportal as well as Commander Peoples going for both clairvoyances.
Yes. Clairvoyance is a very useful spell. If you joined just before the game started, you would have seen the little vision page that I made for everyone, sort of an introduction to how vision works in Dominion. There are no wards in this game mode, so Clairvoyance is a very powerful spell because it actually enables you to see where otherwise you could not, and being able to bush check the center of the map is very useful. Another thing to note is there's no garrison on their team. Now, usually 1 garrison per side is a good basis to have, but some people have strayed away from that recently, favoring Clairvoyance instead for making plays in the middle of the map, because Clairvoyance you can use to make a play anywhere. Garrison you can only use to make a play on a tower, so it changes things up a little bit. Although Garrison Maokai is always a pretty rough thing, and I'm really surprised that we don't see that. We're also seeing a flash on Sivir. Flash is not something that you see in this game mode. It's just, you don't really need it. I mean, a lot of the walls are too fat to flash over, for one, and secondly, there's not a lot of places to flash to because the map is significantly smaller. With it, you use flash on any ranged AD champion that is very fragile and does not have their own escape mechanic. Sivir, Varus, Ashe are all good examples. Misfortune, another good example of people that don't really have a good escape mechanic, or you run that on ranged AD that have a weak escape mechanic just for the extra insurance. Champions like Vayne and Caitlyn have sort of escape disengage mechanics, but not necessarily too guaranteed, so the flash is very useful. On the other side, though, we're seeing a barrier on Vayne, and some people have been liking to do that with Vayne. I see it on Vayne in particular. I've seen it on Ashe and Caitlyn a couple times as well, where you will be an AD carry, you'll run barrier, and you will just sort of charge into a fight, pop barrier, and know that you can gun someone down before your barrier health runs out. And that's more of a mental game. That's really having to know your champion and the other champions in order to be able to pull that stunt off. Also, for people that are just joining the chat, welcome. This is the LoLPro Dominion Showdown. Thank you, LoLPro, Curse, Reign of Gaming, and Leaguepedia for helping to put on this show. I'm very happy to come out here and commentate for you. And I saw a couple people in the chat, making references towards the players' rankings. There is not a public ranked mode for Dominion. The ELO is tracked by Riot, but we don't have a way to view it publicly, unfortunately. So we don't have borders. A lot of these guys have borders from Summoner's Rift and Trees and those 2 maps, but we don't have them for here yet. If you guys want to know about Revive, well, I will show you that screen as we transition to the full game screen. There you go. That'll tell you everything you need to know about Revive and why Revive is so powerful. And it saves my voice from dying. I'm one half of your commentators. I am Gandair of the gaming clan Vato Clan, and co-commentating me with for this game too. That sense was improper, but hopefully you know what I mean. Is
Azaraki Dragon, am I?
Excellent. And it's been nice casting with you. This has been a very eventful day. It's been pretty long. I haven't actually cast this many games in a row, and I was really worried about doing it at first, but I feel great. And I'm
fun.
Hours into it. I'm best of 3s into it. It's awesome. Well, let's take a look at this loading screen now.
And I hope that my casting has been pretty good enough. I'm normally a Summoner's Rift caster, so I don't really delve into Dominion too much. But you guys have been really nice. I've been reading a lot of Twitch chat. These players have been had nothing but good things to say about everything in general. You guys seem like a very nice community, and it actually makes me very glad to cast here for you. And I hope that I'm good enough to cast in this sort of venue with such nice people.
Well, excellent. Hey, we're really glad you're enjoying yourself, and I'm really glad to hear that the community has been behaving themselves I always worry about how they deal with new people, but they've been very friendly, and if you guys have any questions about Dominion, feel free to ask in the chat. There's tons of competitive players in the chat right now. One of our moderators, Maloko Dude, has all sorts of helpful links to things about Dominion and resources for Dominion information, and if you want to learn more about Dominion builds for champions and characters, if you want to learn how some of the individual champions work in the game mode, LoLPro.com, go there, click on Pro Guides, scroll through that guides section, and you can see guides written by these top-level players. Half-Hearted wrote a guide for Brand. Painkillers wrote multiple guides. He's written multiple guides, excuse me. He's done one for Elise, one for Evelynn. There's a couple other ones I can't remember without looking at them. So there's a lot of guides from the high ELO Dominion players, the top-level competitive guys, have those resources online for you. And all you need to do is go to lolpro.com, click on Pro Guides, and read through that section.
And we did see someone ask a question in chat. It was Gung Ho. I think he knows what Dominate Dominion is, but I think he was being helpful and asking the question for those people who don't know what Dominate Dominion is. And it is a weekly Dominion tournament, and I think that Gandair has a little bit more of information about that while we are waiting out this pause.
Yes, Dominate Dominion is a competitive League of Legends Dominion tournament that has been running since April 21st, 2012. We are going to have Dominate Dominion number 67 next week. It's free to enter. Bring your friends. The signups for that are over on MobaFire. And it's Dominate Dominion 67. We skipped it this week because we wanted to support Curse and LoLPro and these guys in their Dominion tournament. So we took a break, and we want to come over here and support these guys because we're really excited that LoLPro, Curse, Reign of Gaming, Leaguepedia have decided to do a little bit of stuff for Dominion and experiment with this game mode. We hope we've been able to put on a really good show for them, and they're really, really awesome guys. So if you want to participate in Dominate Dominion, you can check that out in the appropriate places. There's an in-game chat channel, by the way, for the Dominion community. If you want to be a part of the Dominion community, check out some streams, play some in-houses with us, or just hang out and talk. Even if you don't play Dominion, you can come hang out with us there, because there's some Summoner's Rift players that hang out as well. That in-game chat channel is Dominate Dominion. You join in-game chat channels by going to the bottom right side of your client, clicking on the chat rooms and control panel on the side. Then you click Create or Join a Chat Room. In the field, you type in Dominate Dominion, and then you hit Enter, and it will pop you up in a chat channel with a whole bunch of other people. Make sure we're caught up to live, by the way. I'm clicking the button until it grays out. And then once you're in that chat channel, go to the upper right-hand corner of the chat channel window, click on the little gear icon, and highlight Auto Join on Startup and Show Timestamp. And then you won't ever have to worry about typing that in again, because you'll just always be throwing the channel whenever you log in. I'm at 47, 48, 49. Are we synced?
Yes.
Are we good? Excellent.
Sync.
And take a look at these starting items. Not a lot seems out of the ordinary. There is Maokai doing a no boots catalyst first, which is something that you see occasionally on that particular champion. There's only one or two champions that you see that on, and Mao is one of them. I'm going to expect bottom lane Mao, actually. That wouldn't surprise me. Maybe Half-Hearted going down there? There's a couple different champions that could bottom lane for that team. Mao or Cass are both good choices. And over on the other side, we're seeing J4 go for the Grezes first. Vayne down the bottom lane. That's very interesting. Could be a late game switch, or it could just be AD carry bot Wukong Bruiser bottom lane. This is a very unusual thing to see in that area of the map. But moving up top, Leona has a Kindle Gem first. It's probably going to turn to a Hextech Sweeper later. And Jarvan going for the no boots, but wanting to get that vision for his team secured early.
Yes, and it looks like already there's a mad dash to the windmill, and it looks like they're going to be able to get it first. Commander People's going in for an initiation, but Painkiller is in the back line. Bebop taken down really low and almost dead, but no, not quite. Carnival is going to try as best he can to kill Half-Hearted. Half-Hearted taking a lot of damage. The auto attacks and the last little plant thing from Zyra is able to secure the kill right there. And in the bot lane, Infeed is doing a little bit better against Wolferer, but meanwhile, looks like both people who died have popped revive, so they're going to try to make a play back onto the windmill at this point. And so far, Sailor Moonbear is the only one here who could contest it, but no, it looks like they're backing off themselves.
And this is a very fast turnaround for the windmill. Normally the windmill fight drags on a lot longer than this. We typically don't see it captured until about the 4-minute mark, sometimes even as long as 5 minutes. And this is a very fast capture for that particular point. Painkiller hanging out in the middle of the map. Carnival right behind him. They see Commander Peoples, checks it with the sapling, stuns Peoples so that he can run away. Peoples chasing as two of his teammates behind him. They could pick this fight with Jarvan if they want to.
And Jarvan is going to be running away. He still has the speed relic on him, so he's going to be able to run faster than everyone else. But at the same time, it looks like Clueless, they're making a little bit of a play towards the top lane. Commander Peoples catching out Painkiller just a little bit, doing a tiny bit of damage as much as he can, but mostly stalling until BB Bop could get there, but no, not in time. So they're not going to be able to make anything happen out of that. And on top of that, you know, everything else is actually looking fairly passive if you compare it to most Dominion games. And oh no, the speed relic, they're going to try to catch Commander Peoples once again. He needs to land a creative twisted advance, but oh, going back, using the arcane shift, dodging the seer. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough as they're going to pick up the kill with a Pillar of Flame and a couple auto attacks from Carnival. So already pays Evelynn child support off to an early lead, and so far Clueless hasn't really been able to do much about it. Mad Supportal able to get the Storm Relic in the middle of the map, so he will get a slight buff in power. Pays Evelynn child support still has theirs up, so at the moment there's a little bit more power for Clueless, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything for it. They want to push down on this top tower though.
And Wukong's Cyclone being largely denied by Infeed. Infeed able to get a little bit of damage down. Wukong can't decoy with the vision from the Grez's Lantern active on him and condemned into the wall. Not good news. He is defeated in the bottom lane. But Pays Evelynn child support, right now they're doing a very good job of keeping themselves hidden on the map, moving around, constantly roaming so that they're not able to be captured in one place and initiated on Clueless's terms. Carnival throwing down the Cataclysm, boxing Mad Supportal, good stun from Half-Hearted on Sailor Moonberry, and Carnival actually able to escape from that.
Oh, and Half-Hearted is going to be able to escape from that as well, so still no relic take for Pays Evelynn support, but they really want to have something. Infi is now responded to this action, and oh wow, very quick kill from Mad Supportal onto Brand, not even having to use her ultimate shockwave for that. Oh, Painkiller almost walking right into it. They need to be careful because she still has her ultimate up, Mad Supportal on Orianna, but it looks like they will all be backing off. Jarvan almost getting the recall denial, but unfortunately that's not going to happen either. BP Bop looking for something to happen. They're going to try the speed relic and might be, oh, there's the face check with the saplings, so they're not going to be able to get juked out at that point either.
One of the strange things about this game is Mad Supportal, aka Zamike, playing as Orianna. I haven't much experience with him playing Orianna. Commander Peoples in with a twisted advance. Solar Flare goes down, helps to take out BB Pop's Sivir in the process. Commander Peoples now being focused as he is the closest target for Confidaris and Sailor Moonberry. And is he going to die to Blaze? Yes! Maokai does burn down. Only you can prevent forest fires, but Confidaris intends to start them as he turns his attention over to Half-Hearted as well, picking up a double kill. And Mad Supportal now, subject of their wrath, able to save himself from damage. Sailor Moonberry is retreating, picks up the health relics that are scattered across the map, refill both health and mana, and Moonberry has plenty of mana to play with, but blocked by the spell shield. BB Pop not snared, able to continue contributing damage against Painkiller.
The big problem with the big problem for Clueless is the fact that when they try to make something happen, when they win a team fight, Bebop is still getting taken down very low. Confidarius should be able to pick that up fairly quickly. And Carnival going for an ultimate on to Commander Peoples. As I talked about before, there's no escape for him unless he wanted to Twisted Advance onto Confidarius, but that wouldn't quite work. But one thing I was going to say was that one of the big problems is that Clueless can't make anything happen. If they win most of a team fight, they don't have enough pushing power to secure the windmill in the top lane. They don't have enough pushing power to secure anything. They can't take the drill, boneyard, or windmill. So that objective is still going to stay up there, which is really weird because when an objective appears at the windmill, the team that has the objective at the moment, in this case it would be Pays Evelynn child support, is at a slight disadvantage because if Clueless were to take that, they get a little bit of a buff, and it's easier for Clueless to take the windmill than it is for Pays Evelynn child support to take the refinery at this point. But, you know, Clueless, they haven't really been able to push out as much. They can't take that windmill, which is the big unfortunate part for them. So we'll have to see how they can make some play happen and it looks like Maokai, he's going to try to do something in the bottom lane. Commander is looking to try to kill him. The stealth from Vayne just a little bit too much. They're not going to be able to do anything. Oh no, Twisted Advance is not in range. He's not going to be able to do anything. They're half-hearted. Oh, the ultimate lands on 2 members of Pays Evelynn Child Support, and oh, the Solar Flare catching the slow but not the stun. They might be able to secure something off of this. However, no, Mad Supportal whiffing the Orianna ultimate. No. Oh, that's a big cooldown for them, but they might still be able to win this fight anyway as Commander Peoples comes in from the backline. They secure a kill onto both Leona and Brand, and that will help them out quite a bit. They might be able to push that windmill down at this point. We'll see if they can make something happen towards that.
Pays Evelynn Child Support has been doing a lot of roaming. They've been staying active in the jungle, because if you are not in line of sight, the enemy can't really confidently push onto a point because they don't know where you're going to come from. And in that situation where Pays Evelynn Child Support was encroaching on their side of the map towards the speed shrine that's over near the refinery, Pays Evelynn Child Support had the ability to section someone off. If Clueless had tried to split off someone to try to capture the windmill and draw their attention away from the middle of the map so they could get installed in this area, then Pays Evelynn Child Support would have just swept up, killed that one person, then gone back down for a very imbalanced 4v3 engagement. So they did not have an opportunity to try and make a play like that. So what they need to do is they need to get a good tag with vision from a Grez's or Sweeper or Clairvoyance, something like that, so that they know where to engage at. Because with Leona and Zyra on the other team, Clueless really has to worry about that crowd control, because it's you can go from, hey, I'm roaming, to I'm locked down and my team can't do anything about it.
And so far, the only damage that's been dealt to the Nexus of Pays Evelynn Child Support has been on champion kills themselves, which are a very, very negligible amount of damage to that Nexus, to the Nexus health. And most of what these teams are going to be playing for are the points, and we can already see that as Pays Evelynn Child Support has twice the amount of Nexus health, almost full at this point. They haven't lost that windmill. They haven't lost any points since they captured it, and that's what Clueless needs to do. They need to find some way to make a play happen. And oh, there goes the Solar Flare. They might be able to force a play on this. The Pyroclasm lands on both of them. That is a ton of burst damage, and they're going to be taken down really quickly. And Commander Peoples now the one getting caught out a little bit. But Beep Beep Bop trying to kill Painkiller as well. But Carnival stops him from escaping that Cataclysm. And there goes the knockup from Sailor Moonberry. Double kill for him. And, you know, once again, they maintain control of literally everything on the map. And they even neutralize that point down in the bot lane. Infi doing a very good job against Wolferer.
And Infi able to get the point neutral. Pays Evelynn Child Support, all they need to do is maintain this pressure, and they don't even need to get another tower. This, when people in Dominion often say, just hold 3. No. If you hold 3, that will give time for the enemy to set up and destroy you if you hang out on a point. The way that Pays Evelynn Child Support is behaving on the map is exactly how you want to, quote-unquote, hold 3. You want to get 3 towers, you want to disappear, you want to take your team off the map so that the enemy team has absolutely no idea of where you are. That way, if they split off one person to windmill, you can go up there as a 4-man and just run them over. Or if you catch them in the jungle, you can have a fair 4v4 engagement. If you give them time to set up and drag you off that point, you can lose.
And Confedarius is getting initiated on right now, shut down very, very quickly. This might be what Clueless needs to get back into this game. They need to make something happen with it, however, and all the meanwhile, Painkiller is trying to take the refinery as well. If they do manage to take this and not just neutralize it, they will get that damage buff as well, but they're not going to be able to. Mad Sportal is here as well to follow up. Commander Peoples trying to CC Sailor Moonberry as much as possible. Painkiller taking a lot of damage from Boomerang Blade as well as the poison. There goes the final Twin Fang, able to pick up the kill for Half-Hearted. And they're going to be able to muscle them off this tower, but at what cost? They have no towers up for themselves. There are 2 neutralized points, and now only 1 neutralized points. It is 0-4 at this moment, and Carnival looks like he's going to try to stop Commander Peoples from taking this back as well, and he's going to be very successful at doing... No! Wolfer comes in at the last second. Commander Peoples with a great ultimate, saving his life, but Infi going up from the bot lane, and he's able to make something happen right there as Wolfer goes to try to kill Infi. He might be able to do it, especially since Commander Peoples is here. There's no problem to secure that kill. And meanwhile, the top point has been neutralized for the side of Clueless. If they can take this back, they might be able to bring the game back. It's going to be so hard for them, but it is possible. If they can keep 3 and hold 3 correctly, like you said before, they could potentially get back into this game, but it is looking bleak.
and they need to get this bomb point. They will be able to do that before anyone can arrive. Cassiopeia versus Painkiller. Painkiller has plenty of health to weather Cassiopeia's damage. As long as you can just stay stuck to her and continue to deliver it, she will fall. And there we go. Evelynn and Child Support installing themselves on the top tower. They're going to turn that around. They're going to get the neutral, which will stop the clock for them. Mad's Portal able to pick up the Storm Shield in the center of the map. Confederaris heading down towards the bottom lane, wants to protect Vayne from anything that may happen. Checking for a counter gank, very, very smart. Knowing that Vayne may be their weakest area of the map. Clueless has spent a lot of time on the upper portion of the map, and Evelynn Child Support has spent a lot of time zoning against them to keep them from being able to make a play. In the bottom part of the map, however, it's mostly just been Vayne and Wukong, so there's been plenty of opportunity for them to go down there, and now they've started to check for that, but it looks like we're going to have an imbalanced 4v1 and a 4v1. Up at the top, it's everyone against Zyra, and in the bottom, it's everyone against Wukong, but look at the split. Carnival and Painkiller go for this point, and you have Brand split off to go for the refinery. They're easily able to kill Zyra up at the top part of the map, but they have 4 people there, and they don't have anyone to defend the other 2 points. Great awareness by Evelynn Child Support. Using Vayne to zone away Wukong, sending 2 people here, splitting off another one to go for the refinery. Even though they didn't get the full capture on it, they still forced position by the enemy, and the minions! The purple caster made it neutral the tower.
Haha, that is a great play right there, and even though it isn't a full cap, it still makes them go farther ahead just a little bit. They were up 2 towers instead of 1 for that little bit of time, and that little bit could make all the difference. We've seen games won, you've seen games won by 2 points. I've seen them won by 5. Every little point can possibly matter, but at this point, you know, there are Clueless are trying to get back into this. They have 3 caps and 1 neutralized, and now it looks like everything is back to 3-2. However, Clueless is in favor of this one. We'll see if Infi can try to kill Command Peoples and knock him off of this tower as well. But it looks like the rest of the team is converging. The rest of both teams are converging, and Commander People gonna get the health relic. However, it's not gonna be enough. One last heal is still not enough as he's going to be taken down. But BB has something to say about this, and so does Half-Hearted. Half-Hearted doing a great job. Miasma zoning everything. A very, very strong AoE poison.
And Mad's Portal, oh dear, Jarvan has discovered Orianna, and she takes pretty much all of the damage in the game. Vayne with that True Silver Bolts proc picking up the KB. BB Pop being revealed as well to keep the target on her. Half-Hard is able to blow away Zyra, but unfortunately Carnival is able to send him back to his base as well. And they're going to take this top point, and all they need to do is avoid an engagement or force a bad engagement that Clueless can't push out of, and they'll win this first game.
Yeah, all they really need to do is delay as well, and it looks like they're doing just that. Carnival and Infeed running people around the jungle as much as possible. They're just trying to keep everyone off of the points, and it looks to be working. If someone doesn't capture something in the next, say, 20 seconds, then it's going to be game over, as this next initiation is going to decide it, whether or not they're going to be able to win the game. Commander People's getting stunned against the wall from a Condemn, and it looks like the rest of the team is trying to kill Half-Hearted. Half-Hearted taken down very low. It looks like Vayne is going to finish up the Orianna kill. Carnival helping Zyra kill Sivir at the very end. Double kill for Vayne as they're still trying to kill Half-Hearted. Wolfer doing his best he can to assassinate Confederaris, but they win the team fight, and even if they didn't, it really wouldn't matter anyway, as Clueless, their Nexus is going to be taken down. Evelynn Child Support winning the first game in a pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, one of the things that I think really, really hurt them is Mad's Portal doesn't play a lot of Orianna, from what I understand, so it was really unusual to see him end up with that pick. So I think that might have had something to do with the loss there.
Yeah, I also noticed that there wasn't quite enough peel for Bebop. During the other games we've seen Clueless win, they were able to keep Bebop alive throughout the entire fight. He did so much damage. Whether he's playing Sivir or Vayne, he was able to just sit in the back line of the fight and hammer people down the entire time. But this game, it wasn't quite like that. She was always the first target, and they really had a comp that allowed them to dive. Jarvan is an amazing champion to dive carries with his flag and drag combo as well as his ultimate. But we will be going on to this next game fairly soon. We'll see if Evelynn Child Support can go ahead and 2-0 Clueless, or if Clueless can get back into this game with 1 win, or if they can catch up by taking a 2-1 victory. We'll have to see. But quick shout out to our sponsors, LoLPro, Reina Gaming, and Leaguepedia, and we will go right to a very quick ad break.